Back in July 2021, Neil from YouTube channel RMC started his project to launch a retro computing and gaming exhibition, which was in part funded by Kickstarter, with various rewards, including the colouring book of retro computers, which I featured in a previous video. Please see the video description for the link to the video. Speaking of the colouring book, I scanned in a few of the pages I coloured in. What do you think? As one of the backers of the higher tier, I was invited to attend a VIP visit to experience the exhibition, which took place on the 20th of March 2022. The exhibition is in a mill located in Stroud, Gloucestershire, a very peaceful part of England. Just listen to this clip. It was a little unreal to finally be in the exhibition that I've seen in Neil's videos, as well as meet the man himself. He was friendly and down to earth. Neil explained what would happen during the 5 hours of the session, which included the opportunity to look at and use the many tabletop games, retro computers, games consoles, many of which I didn't have in my collection. To get that authentic experience, CRT monitors were connected to the various systems, so please forgive the flickering of the screens, as I only used my phone to do the recordings. There were also systems in glass cabinets, showcasing rare computers, and there was even a ZX81 kit that had never been assembled. Other cabinets showcased the more well-known consoles, computers and accessories through the years. There were many different retro computers and game systems to play, including old IBM PCs, BBC Micro, Atari ST, Amiga 600, ZX81, PC Engine, Sharp X68000 and Master System, to name but a few. Various volunteers were present in case we had questions or needed assistance, and one of them, Mark, gave a talk on tabletop games. Here is a brief snippet.
Like a challenge game with regards to like spaces to move things, and battle type ships type things, and things that flash. You would have batteries in, make noises and what have you. So you started to see the development and the integration of like sound and light, vision and what have you. And then we move on to, I'll just get my notes here. So the LED, light emitting diode. This sort of thing inside, so basic, and the electronics are so basic, but it delivers so much value and so much fun, particularly as to a youngster, as we all were at the time.
I think most of us remember having some form of tabletop game, and Mark briefly talked about the technology involved in the various games and the struggle to repair some of them due to the difficulty obtaining various replacement parts, though 3D printing has helped greatly. Also present was Stu Cambridge, digital artist, most known for his work at Sensible Software, and he talked about putting together the colouring book of retro computers and his early days of art design. A small segment of the talk will now play.
Worked on last sort of 8 months. I think we started about a year ago talking about it, and when it was suggested it was going to be a colouring book of retro computers, my first thought was, it's a lot of age. Second thought was, how are we going to do it? Because drawing something like that, yeah, it looks nice, but what is there to draw? It's just... Then we thought, right, okay, how are we going to do this? First thing was to get research photos, as many as we could.
It was fascinating to hear from Stu how he was able to recreate the various computers and game consoles in digital form, as there is a lot to consider when putting together even a colouring book. Neil had set up in a separate room a retro game shop, but rather than have games to purchase, they could be picked up and scanned, which would then automatically run in an emulator, which I thought was a fantastic idea. While at the exhibition, Neil went round asking a number of people if they owned an Apple II, and I was one of them he asked, but so far Neil has only posted on his Twitter account a very short response to one of the attendees, but I happened to be in the background and accidentally got my face in the shot.
This is Pete. Pete, have you ever used an Apple II?
No.
Thank you, Pete. let's interrupt James. James, have you ever used an Apple II?
I have an Apple IIe.
We've got an Apple IIe owner. Did you use it back in the day?
No, only recently.
Close enough. Thank you, James.
You can also see me in Neil's recent video, in which he talks about the exhibition being open to the public for the first time, and I'm in a number of the shots. Unfortunately, I wasn't interviewed by Neil, but those that did have the opportunity to speak, I feel summed up my thoughts well. We went away with a few goodies: I coloured in the cave mug, another copy of the colouring book, some colouring pencils, and as a bonus, Neil had some spare retro style gaming magazines for people to take, which made for some good reading as I made my way home. The exhibition was a great opportunity to go somewhere new, Gloucestershire, and I recommend it to anyone interested in retro computers and game systems, even if just to see the history of electronics that paved the way for what we have today. Of course, I realise it's not as easy to get to for everyone, but perhaps if you're visiting England one day, you can stop by. I hope that you enjoyed this brief look at the exhibition, and perhaps one day you're able to experience it for yourself. Please see the video description for further information about visiting. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Bye.